Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You're watching CVR English and welcome to World 360 with me, Sandeep. A dense standoff unfolded Thursday in Camarillo, California, as federal agents executed a raid at Glass House Farms, a licensed cannabis facility, prompting a confrontation with protestants and farm works authorities, including Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol, deployed smoke canisters and crowd control measures to disperse demonstrators, some of whom were reportedly affected by gas irritants. The raid, part of a broader immigration crackdown across Southern California, saw military-style vehicles, helicopters and masked agents in tactical gear block roads and detain individuals. Protesters, including family members of workers, demanded answers as buses transported detainees from the site. At least 3 people were hospitalized, and one protester allegedly fired a weapon during the chaos.
We also want to work with Ukraine to avoid that those entities who help the Russian war machine will benefit from the reconstruction. Because whether we like it or not, what happens in Ukraine affects each and every one of us. I think that is why we should be proud of the result we are all achieving together today. Nations, international organizations, financial institutions, local authorities, the business sector, civil society, together, at today's conference, we have made commitments totaling over 10 billion euros.
President of Ukraine.
US R&B singer Chris Brown appeared at Southwark Crown Court in London on Friday to plead not guilty to multiple charges stemming from alleged nightclub brawl in February 2023. The 36-year-old artist denied assault occasioning actual bodily harm against music producer Abraham Diab at the Tape nightclub in Mayfair, as well as a charge of possessing an offensive weapon bottle in public place. Brown had previously pleaded not guilty to a more serious charge of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm with intent, for which he is set to stand trial in October 2026.
Morning, darling. Morning, darling. Morning, darling. Morning, darling. Morning. Darling.
A tense standoff unfolded Thursday in Camarillo, California, as federal agents executed a raid at Glass House Farms, a licensed cannabis facility, prompting a confrontation with protesters and farm workers. Authorities, including Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and Border Patrol, deployed smoke canisters and crowd control measures to disperse demonstrations, some of whom were reportedly affected by gas irritants. The raid, part of a broader immigration crackdown across Southern California, saw military-style vehicles, helicopters, and masked agents in tactical gear block roads and detain individuals. Protesters, including family members of workers, demanded answers as buses transported detainees from the site. At least 3 people were hospitalized, and one protester allegedly fired a weapon during the chaos. On the solemn occasion of the 30th anniversary of the Srebrenica genocide, thousands of mourners from Bosnia and around the world have gathered at the Srebrenica Potokari Cemetery to pay tribute to over 8,000 Bosniak Muslim men and boys brutally killed by Bosnian Serb forces in July 1995. The massacre, recognized by international courts as Europe's only genocide since the Holocaust, remains a haunting chapter in the modern history.
قل هو الذي ذرأكم في الأرض وإليه تحشرون ويقول هو الذي ذرأكم في الأرض وإليه تحشرون ويقول هو الذي ذرأكم في الأرض وإليه تحشرون ويقول
Top diplomats from 27 member countries, including China, Russia, and the United States and ASEAN nations, gathered at Kuala Lumpur Convention Center on July 11th for the 32nd ASEAN Region Forum ARF under Malaysia's chairmanship. Forum focused on strengthening multilateral cooperation to address pressing regional challenges such as maritime tensions, cyber threats, climate change, and humanitarian crisis.
Oke, masuk ya. Bisa.
Normal Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished delegates,
Excellencies, Foreign Ministers of political complexity and strategic uncertainty. Our region, the ASEAN Regional Forum, has proved to be an indispensable platform for dialogue and consultation on regional political and security issues of mutual interest and concern, and credible regional security architecture. Malaysia as chair remains committed. I am pleased to note that the ASEAN senior officials have been in active deliberations towards maritime security, counter-terrorism, and disaster preparedness, and better coordination with other ASEAN platforms. Finally, the strength of ARF lies in we must reaffirm our commitment to dialogue, consensus, and mutual respect. Strengthen the ARF as a stabilizing factor, stabilizing force, a forum where trust is nurtured.
Oke, masuk ya. Bisa.
Normal Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished delegates,
Excellencies, Foreign Ministers of political complexity and strategic uncertainty. Our region, the ASEAN Regional Forum, has proved to be an indispensable platform for dialogue and consultation on regional political and security issues of mutual interest and concern, and credible regional security architecture. Malaysia as chair remains committed. I am pleased to note that the ASEAN senior
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio briefly spoke with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov ahead of the East Asia Summit in Kuala Lumpur. The interaction followed a prior 50-minute meeting focused on exploring diplomatic options for peace in Ukraine. Rubio called the talks frank and important, while Lavrov reiterated Russia's stance outlined by President Putin. The engagement signaled ongoing dialogue between Washington and Moscow amid rising geopolitical tensions.
Bin Haji Hassan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, to deliver his opening remarks. Bin Haji Hassan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, to deliver his opening remarks. Bin Haji Hassan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, to deliver his opening remarks. Haji Hassan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, to deliver his opening remarks.
Hundreds of demonstrators gathered in Rio de Janeiro this week to demand progressive reforms, including a tax on Brazil's wealthiest citizens and abolition of the 6-day work week. The protest, organized by unions and civil society groups, coincide with a nationwide popular referendum launched on July 1st that seeks public support for two key proposals: taxing individuals earning over $50,000 per month and ending 6-day work schedule, followed by 1-day weekly off.
Liberar o Bolsonaro, que está sendo eles votaram, eles estão começando a perceber quem está do lado deles, quem está de costas. O Brasil é dos brasileiros.
A fim de destruir o serviço público. Nós não concordamos.
Processo em que todo mundo pode se envolver.
Liberar o Bolsonaro, que está sendo eles votaram, eles estão começando a perceber quem está do lado deles, quem está de costas. O Brasil é dos brasileiros.
A fim de destruir o serviço público. Nós não concordamos.
The United Nations has successfully delivered 75,000 liters of fuel to Gaza, the first such shipment in over 4 months. But officials say it's nowhere near enough to meet the conclave's dire energy needs. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric emphasized that hundreds of thousands of liters are required daily to sustain essential humanitarian operations, including hospitals, water systems, and food distribution.
Of fuel from Israel into the Gaza Strip. This is the first such provision in 130 days. As we mentioned yesterday, we and our humanitarian partners need hundreds of thousands of liters of fuel each day to keep essential life-saving and life-sustaining operations going, meaning that the amount entered yesterday isn't sufficient to cover even 1 day of energy requirement. Fuel is still running out and services will shut down if greater volumes do not enter the Gaza Strip. Of fuel from Israel into the Gaza Strip. This is the first such provision in 130 days. As we mentioned yesterday, we and our humanitarian partners need hundreds of thousands of liters of fuel each day to keep essential life-saving and life-sustaining operations going, meaning that the amount entered yesterday isn't sufficient to cover even 1 day of energy requirement. Fuel is still running out and services will shut down if greater volumes do not enter the Gaza Strip. Of fuel from Israel into the Gaza Strip. This is the first such provision in 130 days. As we mentioned yesterday, we and our humanitarian partners need hundreds of thousands of liters of fuel each day to keep essential life-saving and life-sustaining operations going, meaning that the amount entered yesterday isn't sufficient to cover even 1 day of energy requirement. Fuel is still running out and services will shut down if greater volumes do not enter the Gaza Strip. Of fuel from Israel into the Gaza Strip. This is the first such provision in 130 days. As we mentioned yesterday, we and our humanitarian partners need hundreds of thousands of liters of fuel each day to keep essential life-saving and life-sustaining.
French President Emmanuel Macron wrapped up his 3-day state visit to the United Kingdom on Friday, departing from London after a series of high-level meetings and ceremonial engagements. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer personally bid farewell to Macron, marking the end of the visit aimed at resetting Franco-British relations in the post-Brexit era. During the trip, Macron met with King Charles III and addressed UK Parliament and co-hosted 37th Franco-British Summit with Starmer. Key topics included defence sector cooperation, support for Ukraine, and proposed one-in, one-out migrant deal to curb channel crossings. The visit also featured cultural exchanges, including the announcement that historic Boyx tapestry will be loaded to the British Museum for the first time in nearly 1,000 years. French President Emmanuel Macron alongside UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer unveiled a major upgrade to the Combined Joint Expeditionary Force (CJEF) during a press conference at Northwood Military Base. The force will expand from brigade level to Army Corps strength, increasing its capacity from 10,000 to 50,000 troops. Macron emphasized that this transformation will make the CJEF capable of being deployed in a major engagement with a core built around Franco-British units and the ability to integrate other European partners. The newly renamed Franco-British Joint Force is expected to play a central role in Coalition of the Willing, a multinational initiative to support Ukraine post-ceasefire.
Donnons les moyens, lorsque nécessaire, d'œuvrer ensemble à la mesure de l'environnement nettement plus menaçant qui est devenu le nôtre. Au plan opérationnel, nous avons décidé de changer complètement d'échelle la force conjointe, les TJF, que nous avions créée en 2010 et qui est la base de coopération structurante. Nous faisons passer cette force conjointe du niveau d'une brigade à celle d'un corps d'armée, c'est-à-dire pouvant aller jusqu'à 50 000 hommes, capables d'être employés dans un engagement majeur, ce qui représenterait une multiplication par 5 avec la France et le Royaume-Uni en noyau dur, capables d'agréger d'autres partenaires européens et d'être mis à la disposition de l'Alliance. Notre partenariat donne une crédibilité, une robustesse à ce pilier européen de l'OTAN sur le plan opérationnel et crédibilise aussi l'autonomie stratégique. Donnons les moyens, lorsque nécessaire, d'œuvrer ensemble à la mesure de l'environnement nettement plus menaçant qui est devenu le nôtre. Au plan opérationnel, nous avons décidé de changer complètement d'échelle la force conjointe, les TJF, que nous avions créée en 2010 et qui est la base de coopération structurante. Nous faisons passer cette force conjointe du niveau d'une brigade à celle d'un corps d'armée, c'est-à-dire pouvant aller jusqu'à 50 000 hommes, capables d'être employés dans un engagement majeur, ce qui représenterait une multiplication par 5 avec la France et le Royaume-Uni en noyau dur, capables d'agréger d'autres partenaires européens et d'être mis à la disposition de l'Alliance. Notre partenariat donne une crédibilité, une robustesse à ce pilier européen de l'OTAN sur le plan.
Hundreds of mourners, including 17 Russian government officials, gathered in Moscow to bid farewell to Roman Starovoyt, the former transport minister who was found dead in his car just after being dismissed by President Vladimir Putin. The farewell ceremony, held at the Central Clinical Hospital, was marked by heavy police presence and a palpable sense of unease among the attendees. Starovoyt's death, officially ruled a suicide, came amid reports that he was under investigation for embezzling billions of rubles from border fortification contracts in Kursk region, a scandal that unfolded during Russia's military campaign in Ukraine. His sudden demise has sparked fear and speculation within Russia's elite, with analysts suggesting he may have been made a scapegoat for military failures. US President Donald Trump got visibly irritated by Mauritania President Mohamed Ould Ghazouani's long introduction speech and asked him to wrap up quickly. "We have to go," Trump told the Mauritanian president before the African leader was forced to conclude his remarks. During a July 9th lunch with African leaders at the White House, President Trump interrupted Mohamed Ould Ghazouani, the president of Mauritania, urging him to wrap up his remarks. The event included leaders from Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, and Mauritania.
Throughout the world. It's not like the US, Mr. President.
Sur le plan du poids que nous avons, on est à l'international.
Internationally, we understand that our weight, our influence is not that great, and we have no complex about this. It's also a small country because of our level of prosperity. We're not a very prosperous country. We have many problems related to the well-being of our population. But it is also a great country, a big country in other ways. Mauritania is a great country in the sense of its strategic position. It is on the Atlantic coast, which makes it a neighbor to the US. It is what unites North Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa, or what links the two. That is its strategic position, but also in terms of resources. We have a great deal of resources, many resources, and we have a lot of opportunities to offer in terms of investment. We have minerals, rare earths, rare.
That's the end of the bulletin. Keep watching CVR News English.